majority decision 2 weeks ago. Both teams in need of a win, and it'll be a big one here tonight on Seabest Field. John Stryevsky, recently added to the Sharks roster, is set to kick off as Jacksonville won the toss and deferred their choice of the second half. It's a low bouncing kick by Stryevsky. Field on the hop for Portland as Christian Wise takes it outside the 10-yard line, and the Steel will start things at the 11. Flying solo on the broadcast here tonight. Was pleased to be joined by London Crawford, Sharks wide receiver, who was on injured reserve for the first 2 home games of the 2016 season, but he's back. London reactivated this week and into the starting lineup tonight. Good to have him back in the receiving corps, joining Joe Hills and Tiger Jones. We'll see them in a minute. Now it's the Portland offense led by Shane Austin, as they will have a 1st and 10 from the 11-yard line momentarily. Austin making just his 2nd start for Portland this season, recently joined the team. 4th-year player out of Hawaii, was a backup for Pittsburgh 3 years ago, spent 2 years as the Cleveland Gladiators starting quarterback, and is now in a Portland Steel uniform. 1st and 10, Austin over the middle, looking for Jabin Zambrano, and that pass incomplete. The Sharks converge on the Portland Steel wide receiver and knock it away. Alvin Ray Jackson, the Jack linebacker, among others in there. It'll be 2nd and 10. Ball on the right college hash here for Austin. Tom Gilson, the high motion man. Austin looking for Gilson, has him across midfield. A nice catch by the 4th-year receiver out of UMass. He takes it into Sharks territory down to the 22-yard line, and that's where the Portland Steel will have 1st and 10. Mentioned Austin made his season debut last week as Portland went up to Cleveland, erased a massive 20-point fourth-quarter deficit to force overtime, but ultimately fell in the extra session by a count of 55-48. Austin 1 for 2 so far. Portland had decent field position now into Jacksonville territory. On 1st and 10, Austin going for it all for Tyrone Gord, and that one is incomplete. Nice breakup on the play by Greg Reed, the 2nd-year man out of Florida State, playing that tough middle safety position. Reed, 3 picks this year, tied for the team lead with Raji Jackson. Did a good job to catch up to Tyrone Gord there. It'll be 2nd and 10. Tom Gilson, Tyrone Gord, and Jabin Zambrano, the starting receivers here for Shane Austin. The Steel quarterback, a quick pass to the right, this time for Gilson. He'll only get a couple of yards, though. Larachi Jackson, a good job of closing down on Portland's wideout to hold him to only a couple of yards after the catch. Spotted down to the 20-yard line, call it 3rd and 8, as Jacksonville will try and open the game with a big stop. Mentioned that Portland was 0-6. The Steel have had a couple of close calls this season. Portland lost in overtime to Cleveland a week ago, lost by just 3 points against Orlando back in week 2. But they've also had a lot of blowouts this year, so Jacksonville will try and set the tone early. On 3rd and 8, Austin over the middle, looking for Zambrano, and has him in the end zone for a Portland touchdown. That's a 20-yard pass from Shane Austin to Jabin Zambrano, just activated from inactive reserve this week. And the 2 hook up on a 20-yarder, as mentioned. Portland converts on his first drive. It's 6-0 Steel. Zambrano had only played in 2 games this season, coming for 83 yards and 2 touchdowns, so that touchdown number 3. Darren Thomas will be the holder. Ernesto Lacayo, the place kicker for the Steel, as they'll try and go up 7-0 here with about 11 minutes left in the first quarter. Thomas gets the ball down. Lacayo's kick is no good. Wide left off the rebound net, and Jacksonville gives up a touchdown, but kind of has the edge early as Portland only gets 6 points. It's 6-0 Steel, 11:21 to play in the first quarter. We will step aside and come right back to Seabest Field as you're watching Jacksonville Sharks football live on ESPN3. steal over the homestanding Jacksonville Sharks. A 20-yard touchdown pass from Shane Austin to Jabin Zambrano to open the scoring. Just 11:21 left in the first quarter. Should say just 3 minutes and 39 seconds have expired. As Lacayo sends an end-over-end kick back off the net, fielded there by David Highland, cuts up the left side, tries to get to the corner, spins out past the 5, and is throttled by a couple of Steel players from there. So Highland does get out to the 9-yard line. Jacksonville set up in a decent spot, not backed up too far, as Tommy Grady brings the troops out for the first time. It's the Sharks' annual military appreciation night here in Jacksonville, always coincides with Armed Forces Day or thereabouts, and just one of the nights that the Sharks are really proud to put on every year. The unique military-themed jerseys will be auctioned after the game to benefit Veterans Tickets Foundation. Some Attack Dance Team military posters and military t-shirts available as well in exchange for a donation. As Grady on 1st and 10 is back to pass and looking deep down the right side, and that one is up and incomplete. As he was going deep for Joe Hills, and Hills got a hand on it but couldn't quite pull it in. Christian Wise there in coverage. It'll be 2nd and 10 for Jacksonville, but this is one of the nights that the Sharks really use as a platform to honor the men and women who serve and have served and have sacrificed for our country, and have already had some great things go on here on the field. Had a big flag out for the national anthem. Both teams, the Attack Dance Team as well as some fans on the field to help with that. And plenty more to come here on Military Appreciation Night. 2nd and 10 for Grady. He goes over the middle, has Tiger Jones, who hauls it in, absorbs a big hit from Wise, and picks up a Jacksonville first down out to the 22-yard line. Tiger Jones closing in on a major milestone, just about 17 receptions away from 1,000, and that's rarefied air in the history of the Arena Football League. May not get it tonight, as that would just about tie the franchise record, but Jones, in the midst of another great season here in Jacksonville, screen pass to Mo Ruffins on 1st down, and Ruffins can't pull it in, went off his hands. I think the timing got disrupted initially there. Grady had to pump fake, pull it back, and then throw it out. If it had worked out from the start, I think Mo would have had some running room, but instead it's an incomplete pass. 2nd and 10, Jacksonville at its own 22-yard line. Mentioned earlier, London Crawford back in the lineup for Jacksonville. Spent about a month on injured reserve after a minor leg injury suffered in week 2, but he's back. So it's Crawford, Jones, and Hills, the 3 receivers here for Jacksonville. Hard count for Grady on 2nd and 10. Back to pass, fires, caught there by Hills. Gets across midfield, a modest pickup on 2nd down, call it about 4. It'll be 3rd and 6 for the Sharks from the Portland 24-yard line. Last year, Jacksonville totally revamped its offense, bringing in Tommy Grady, bringing in Joe Hills and Tiger Jones, bringing in a couple of offensive linemen to join the core already in place. And Hills and Jones kind of were a phenomenal 1-2 punch, and they still are this year, but it's worked out that Hills has gotten the majority of the targets and touchdowns to this point. And he'll be in motion here on 3rd and 6. Grady looking for Hills in the corner of the end zone. It's there, and Joe Hills hauls it in for a Jacksonville touchdown. That's now 59 consecutive regular season games with a touchdown catch for Joe Hills. As he hauls in a 24-yarder, there is a flag down in the offensive backfield, however. Derek Ross has his helmet off. Tommy Grady thinks it's a touchdown as he went all the way down to congratulate Joe Hills. We'll wait for Bradley Brunette, the official, to give his determination, but the teams are walking toward the end zone like they think it's against Portland, and John Strajewski is on the field for Jacksonville. If it stands, it would be a 24-yarder, the 33rd touchdown pass of the season for Tommy Grady. And the touchdown will stand, so Hills extends the touchdown streak. He's scored in every game he's played as a member of the Jacksonville Sharks, dating back to his time with the Tampa Bay Storm, now 59 consecutive regular season games, 63 consecutive overall. The call is hands to the face on Portland's Robert Hayes. That obviously declined, and Jacksonville will take the touchdown. And now Strajewski on for his first PAT attempt as a member of the Jacksonville Sharks. Ball is down. Strajewski steps into it, drills it right down the middle. gets a round of applause from the Seabest Field faithful as the Sharks early take a 7-6 lead with 8 minutes to play in the first quarter. Each team has scored. Jacksonville with the edge based on the missed extra point. A lot more for you when we come back as you're watching Jacksonville Sharks football live on ESPN3. The Portland Steel. John Zdrajewski with an onside kick. It's a high hop, and that one will bounce into the stands. The Sharks try and catch Portland off guard with the new place kicker Zdrajewski, but the high hop looked pretty good, but was a tad short and too far out of bounds, as even if Jacksonville had got its hands on the football there, it would have been shy of the 10-yard line. So Portland will take over, and that call made because of the penalty, the hands to the face. It was enforced on the ensuing kickoff. That backs Portland up to the 19. You see that a lot in the Arena Football League when there's a pending penalty on the receiving team. Teams go onside figuring, hey, if you get it, great. If not, you can back the other team up a little bit and prevent them from having a first and goal. So spotted the 19-yard line. Two receivers near side right, one to the far side left here for Shane Austin. Steel quarterback looks for Tom Gilson, and that one is nearly intercepted by Larachi Jackson, who had nothing but green turf and a red end zone in front of him, but just couldn't quite get his hands securely on the football. Totally jumped the route, got in front of Gilson, and Gilson actually had a chance to get that deflection, but it fell incomplete. It'll be 2nd and 10. Almost a huge play for Jacksonville, as Larachi Jackson was so close to his 4th pick of the season. 7 minutes to play here in the first quarter. Jacksonville on top, 7-6. They'll swing Tyrone Gord now in motion into the right slot. Austin drops back, flag is down, and they'll blow this one dead. Shane Austin being chased into the boards by Kareem Smith there, but this one is whistled. Looked like it might have been offsides on the high motion man, as Portland is moving backwards. That is the call, offsides against Tyrone Gord, the high motion man, and significant because all other offsides penalties in the AFL, be it on a defense or an offensive player just lined up, it's a 5-yard penalty, but with the high motion man, it's a 10-yard flag. So now Portland all the way back to its own 21-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 20 here for the Steel offense. Zambrano in motion in the right slot. Austin back to pass under pressure, steps up in the pocket, tries to scramble. He'll get a few yards on the play, but a good job by Jacksonville's defense to corral him and minimize the gain. Alvin Ray Jackson, the Jack linebacker, with the initial hit. Dexter Jackson, the Mac linebacker, cleaned it up. It's about a 3-yard gain for Austin, and if you're Jacksonville, you'll take that as it's now 3rd and 17. If you're just joining us, Shane Austin hit Jabin Zambrano for a 20-yard touchdown pass on the opening drive of the game. Jacksonville responded with a 4-play drive, ending with a 23-yarder from Tommy Grady to Joe Hills. And Jacksonville made its extra point. Portland missed theirs. And that's how we get 7-6. 3rd and 17, Austin, a quick pass out to Zambrano, has some running room on the right side, gets inside the 20, close to the 15-yard line before he is corralled by Larachi Jackson and David Highland. Portland gets about half the yardage they needed, but it's still a 4th down situation upcoming and a great opportunity for Jacksonville's defense to get off the field. Call it 4th down and 7, Portland at the 16-yard line. They've got to get down to the Jacksonville 9. Gilson and Gord split to the left. Now Zambrano will swing around in motion into the left slot. 4th down pass, Austin looking over the middle. Flags are down, the ball is incomplete. There is laundry in the secondary and also in the offensive backfield. There could be a couple of different things here. A couple of Portland players motioning like it's against Jacksonville for either a hold or illegal defense or something like that. But there's also a flag back at the 22-yard line. Offsetting penalties are whistled as the Jacksonville Sharks are called for illegal contact. Portland called for offensive holding, so we get a 4th down do-over. Those penalties offset. We'll have another 4th and 7 from the 16-yard line. Always crucial to get the first stop of a game here in Arena Football, and Jacksonville's got an opportunity to do that. Fans on their feet as the atmosphere gets kicked up a notch here at Seabest Field. Another 4th and 7 for Portland from the Jacksonville 16-yard line. 5 seconds on the play clock with Sambrano in motion. On 4th down, Austin looking left, throws left, incomplete as that pass is broken up by David Highland. And the Jacksonville Sharks get off the field with a turnover on downs. A great play of anticipation by Highland right there. And he sets his offense up in a good spot, knocking the ball away from a Steel receiver. And Jacksonville takes over 1st and 10 at its own 16-yard line with 4:38 to play here in the first quarter. No media timeout, so Jacksonville right back on the field. Again, the offensive line across the front. Mo Ruffins, Ray McNeil, Cornelius Lewis from left to right. The 3 receivers, Jones, Hills, and Crawford. Derek Ross, the fullback, and Tommy Grady under center. 1st and 10, quick pass from Grady. He's got Joe Hills on the right side, that quick hitter for Jacksonville. A great drive starting play in this team's arsenal. It picks up a 1st down, a gain of about 12. Jacksonville gets into Portland territory down to the 23-yard line. London Crawford, the motion man on 1st and 10. The first carry of the game for Derek Ross, who breaks free. Ross to the 15, down to the 10, and still on his feet into the end zone. Derek Ross goes 23 yards for a score, and on that play becomes the first player in the history of the Arena Football League with 3,000 career rushing yards. Ross, the 6-year fullback out of Tarleton State, is already the AFL's all-time leading rusher. Needed about 6 yards to get to the 3,000 mark. Gets 23 right there, so no doubt about it. Derek Ross across 3K. And more importantly, for the game situation, the Sharks go up 13-6 with Strajewski on to try and make it an 8-point lead. Great initial blocking for Jacksonville. Ross did the rest. And now Strajewski steps into a PAT. This one right down the middle yet again. So the 4th-year man out of Delaware is 2 for 2, and Jacksonville converts the stop into a 2-play touchdown drive. It's 14-6 Sharks over the Steel, 2:55 to play here in the first quarter. There is a flag down at the 14-yard line. Ryan Cave having a few words with official Bradley Brunette. Jacksonville's coming off the field, though, so I think even if it's against the Sharks, it was after the play. They're going to call Ray McNeil for unsportsmanlike conduct on the play, so that'll be enforced after the ensuing kickoff added on to Portland's return. So we'll step aside, 2:55 to go here in quarter number 1. Sharks on top 14-6 as you're watching Jacksonville Sharks football live here on ESPN3. And during the break, we had one of the first hometown hero presentations of the evening where during a break in action, a serviceman or woman gets brought onto the field and recognized for, again, their contributions and sacrifices for this country. And just a great moment where the fans give a standing ovation. A couple of Jacksonville Sharks players, Salarachi Jackson, Mokeet Ruffins, Alvin Ray Jackson, and Derek Ross kind of go over and congratulate and thank the hometown heroes. So just a cool moment of respect and interaction between some of our brave servicemen and the crowd and the players here in Jacksonville. Have a lot more of that as the night goes on. Unfortunately, you cannot see it on ESPN3, but it's definitely a powerful thing here at Seabest Field. Strajewski off the iron, fielded by Wise. He'll take it up the middle, now trends to the left. Gets out near the 10-yard line and will get across the 10. Nice return there by Christian Wise, who might have been bottled up around the 5-yard line, but picked his way out to the 12. And then the ball will get moved up 10 yards because of the unsportsmanlike penalty on Jacksonville. So very good field position here for Portland as they will start this drive outside the 20-yard line. Sharks defense back on the field. Mark Wavo to the nose, Kareem Smith and Laith Walshlager, the 2 defensive ends. Dexter Jackson, the Mac, Alvin Ray Jackson, the Jack, Larachi Jackson, Greg Reed, and David Highlander, the 3 DBs. But before that, we will get another media timeout, the final one of this first quarter. So we'll step aside yet again, 14-6, Jacksonville on top of Portland. 2:44 to play here in the first quarter on ESPN3. Night presented by Darley's Plumbing. Jacksonville 14, Portland 6. 2:44 to play here in quarter number one. Not only did Jacksonville win the toss and defer their option to the second half, they also get the first defensive stop of the game. That came on Portland's last drive. A fourth down breakup by David Highland led to a Jacksonville touchdown, and that gives the Sharks this 8-point lead. With Tyrone Gordon in motion on 1st and 10, Austin with a handoff to big Kevin Myers. Myers, the fullback, takes it for about a 3-yard gain. Myers actually was in training camp with Jacksonville last season, was then part of the trade that brought Derek Ross to the Sharks. As Myers was traded to Las Vegas, Ross had been traded from Philadelphia to L.A., then from L.A. to Las Vegas, and then from Las Vegas to Jacksonville. The Sharks sending Nairio Maitre, Kevin Myers, and Jomo Wilson over to Vegas for Derek Ross. Myers now in Portland. And Shane Austin under pressure here on second down. Throws it deep though for Tom Gilson, who hauls it in for a steal touchdown. Nice play by Austin there, who had Laith Walschlager bearing down on him from the front. But Gilson got behind the defense. Austin hit him deep. It's a long touchdown pass for Portland and the steal back within 2 points. Touchdown number 2 for Shane Austin tonight. He threw 6 a week ago, but also 4 interceptions. And Austin actually threw 4 picks the last time the Sharks played against him when he was with the Cleveland Gladiators a season ago. That one a 74-41 victory by Jacksonville late last season. So the Sharks may be looking for a mistake at some point, but Austin has kept the ball in good spots so far. Ernesto Lacayo up and good this time, so he's 1 for 2. And Portland gets back within a point. It's 14-13, 1:10 to play here in the first quarter. Jacksonville 2-4 this season. They've had some tough sledding of late. After a 1-1 start that saw them take down the Philadelphia Soul up in Philly, Jacksonville is still the only team to beat the Soul this season. The Sharks kind of went on a bit of a slide, although they did it against 2 of the better teams in the league. Orlando and Arizona have combined to lose only 2 games. The Sharks lost to each of them by just 1 score, but ended up 1-3 after those contests, got back in the win column with a 33-27 victory over Tampa in Week 5, but blew a big lead against Cleveland 2 weeks ago, the last time they took the field. That was an opportunity to get back to the 500 mark before the bye week. Instead, Jacksonville 2-4 and looking way up at Orlando and Philadelphia in the AFL American Conference standings. Orlando 7-0, Philly 6-1. Jacksonville has had its bye week, so they have a game in hand. But the Sharks at 2-4 have some work to do. Worth noting, they do have 2 games left against Orlando and 1 more against Philadelphia, so they can make up some of it themselves. But they're going to need to get on a roll and get some help if they want to really have a great chance at home field advantage to open the playoffs. Highland back deep for Jacksonville. Ernesto Lacayo steps into it. His kick from the goal line sails toward the rebound net. Highland fields it cleanly off the net. He'll head up the middle with a little bit of room at the 10. David Highland to the 15, the 20. Cuts back to the left, gets a block from Holman. Another block from Crawford. Highland spins inside the 20-yard line before Sergio Gilliam finally takes him down. One of the best kickoff returns this season by David Highland. Got a couple of blocks, had some running room, did some more himself, and takes it all the way down to the Portland 18-yard line. Good spot for Tommy Grady and the Sharks offense that has been perfect so far. 2 drives, 2 touchdowns. A 23-yard pass to Joe Hills, a 23-yard run by Derek Ross. Jacksonville's got a 14-13 lead. Final minute, most likely we'll have only 1 more play here in the first quarter. 30 seconds and counting left in period number 1. It'll be Tiger Jones, the high motion man, Grady from the 18-yard line. Back to pass, looking for Jones. Has him in the end zone for a Jacksonville touchdown. 18 yards from Tommy Grady to Tiger Jones as the veteran wideout from Louisville makes a nice sliding catch. And they celebrate in the end zone as Jacksonville now on top 20-13 with Strajewski on for another PAT. Tiger Jones, as always, joined by Mokeet Ruffins in the end zone. Joe Hill's getting in on the celebration as well. London Crawford, also a nice, good dancer and celebrator for this Jacksonville team. He's back in the lineup, so if Jones keeps scoring, there could be some good stuff in store here tonight. Time has expired in the first quarter, but we'll have the PAT. Strajewski on, his kick misses wide left. So that evens things up in terms of missed kicks. Jacksonville leads just by 7, but still, the offense is operating efficiently and effectively. 2 touchdowns on total of just 3 plays the last 2 drives. And at the end of one, it's Jacksonville 20 and Portland 13. So we will step aside for the first quarter break and come right back as you are watching Jacksonville Sharks football live here on ESPN3. Downs on Portland's second possession of the game. Xander Keene here with you, flying solo for now on the broadcast tonight, was joined by London Crawford, Sharks wide receiver for the first 2 home games of the campaign, but London back from injured reserve in the starting lineup tonight. Doesn't have a catch yet, but should figure prominently in this one. Good to have him back, as he's really just hoping for a clean bill of health. A guy that's had phenomenal production as a Jacksonville Shark, but just a run of kind of fluke injuries have kind of hampered him from really getting going here in the last couple seasons. But Crawford back in the lineup. Jacksonville on top 20-13. Dron Strajewski to kick this one away. This one gets all the way back to the net. Christian Wise can't handle it off the iron, and Wise will be corralled just outside the end zone. A good job by the Portland returner to get outside, but ends up actually only getting back to about where the ball would have been spotted if he was taken down in the end zone. They'll put it at about the 3-yard line. That's where Portland will start. Jacksonville trying to keep this deal off the board. First drive of the second quarter. Second start of the season for Shane Austin. He's 5 of 9 for 77 yards and 2 touchdowns so far. On the flip side, Tommy Grady, 5 of 7, 70 yards and 2 scores. First and 10 for Austin from the 3-yard line. A pump fake and a throw over the middle, and that one deflected by Highland. He's shown some great anticipation so far tonight, jumping another route, and just sticks his right hand up, breaks it up. The pass intended for Jabin Sambrano. It's incomplete, 2nd and 10. Highland had that key pass breakup on the 4th down incompletion. Larachi Jackson jumped the route earlier and almost had a pick 6 if he had held on to the football. So the Sharks have had opportunities and made plays in the secondary so far. Tyrone Gordon, high motion, matched up one-on-one against Greg Reed. 2nd and 10, Austin looking for Gordon. Reed is up there with the right hand, tips it away. It's 3rd and 10. Every DB making plays for Jacksonville right now, trying to anticipate Austin's throws and try and get their hands on one if they can. The steal still back at the 3-yard line. Jacksonville's already taken over inside Portland territory once tonight. Two receivers left as Gilson is in high motion. Austin with a deep drop on 3rd down, looking for Gilson. Has him across midfield. There is a flag down, however. Gilson gets down to about the Jacksonville 19-yard line. We'll check the flag that's sitting at Portland's 21. Players on both sides moving forward like they anticipated it'll be against Jacksonville. I think Reed might have made some contact there. And it is a flag against the Sharks, declined. So the big gainer in the conversion stance. Portland gets all the way down to the Jacksonville 19. A gain of about 33 yards there for Tom Gilson, who's had some big plays so far tonight. Sharks up 7, first drive of the second quarter. Austin rolls to his right, looking for Sambrano, who makes a diving catch in the end zone for a touchdown. Looked like some miscommunication there in the secondary. The Sharks were passing off coverage as they got into their drops. Sambrano broke free, ends up hauling in a 19-yarder from Shane Austin, his second touchdown catch of the night. And Portland now back within a point. Ernesto Lacayo will come onto the field with a chance to tie. Already the third touchdown pass of the game for Shane Austin. So far protecting the football for Portland, though as mentioned, the Sharks defense has had its opportunities. Darren Thomas puts the ball down. Lacayo's kick is up and good. So Portland ties the game courtesy of the missed extra point for Jacksonville after their last touchdown. It's now 20-20, 3 touchdowns and 2 for 3 on PATs are both sides. So we will step aside, 11:59 to go before halftime. It's 2020 Sharks and Steel here on ESPN3. On Military Appreciation Night presented by Darley's Plumbing, Xander Keene with you here on ESPN3. Ernesto Lacayo from the left hash. His kickoff will bounce off the net. Highland with a nice job to field a loose ball. Takes it outside the end zone, slips a tackle or two. Fights his way forward to about the 3-yard line. So Highland, first of all, did a good job to handle a bad bounce with one hand, tipping it back to himself. And then made the most he could out of it. Jacksonville will be backed up to start this drive, but we'll see if Tommy Grady and the Sharks offense have something to say about that. 3 possessions and 3 touchdowns for Grady and the Sharks so far. Tiger Jones with a touchdown catch. Joe Hills with a touchdown catch. London Crawford has not touched the football so far tonight. Again, he's back in the starting lineup after missing the last 4 games. It'll be Crawford, the high motion man in the right slot here on 1st and 10. Short drop for Grady, and there's Crawford, first catch of the game as he fights his way forward for a couple of extra yards out to the 10-yard line. A nice pickup of 7 or 8 yards. And Jacksonville with a very manageable 2nd and short coming up here. Great protection for Tommy Grady so far tonight. Jacksonville maybe the best offensive line in the Arena Football League. Only allowed 1 sack so far this season. Grady back to pass, looking for Jones. Has him on a bench route, and Tiger gets thrown down there by Mike McMillan. Crowd wants a flag, but there won't be one coming, but it's still a first down pickup. Jones all the way out to about the 24-yard line. That moves the sticks, a 14-yard gain for Jones. 3 catches so far tonight for Tiger. Again, came in just 18 shy of 1,000 for his storied AFL career. Trips left for Jacksonville here on 1st and 10. Quick toss out to Crawford. Tries the left corner. Gets a little bit of running room inside the 15-yard line. And they'll actually spot him just outside the 15, saying that's where he was contacted into the wall. But it is a first down as London picks up 10 yards. It'll be a new set of downs for Jacksonville, now down to the Portland 15-yard line. Now all 3 receivers on the right side. Grady swings it out to Crawford. Very similar play. London the 10, the 5, into the end zone for a Jacksonville touchdown. London Crawford gets on the board. His first touchdown since coming back off of IR. He'll dance in the end zone. The Sharks celebrate as Jacksonville now leads 26-20. And for Crawford, that's actually the first touchdown catch of the season. London came in with only 6 receptions for 53 yards in the 2 games that he had played. Now gets on the board with a score, and Strajewski on for another PAT. Sean Brackett the hold, Strajewski the kick, and it's off the iron. So Strajewski now 2 for 4. Was solid on his first 2, but has missed the last 2 wide left. So now Portland could have an edge if Lacayo can convert on his next extra point. But we'll get to that when we come to it. It's Jacksonville 26 and Portland 20. 8:39 to play here in quarter number 2. And we will be right back here on ESPN3. Has it teed up just outside the pro hash as he sends it end over end. Off the iron, the ball is loose, picked up by Christian Wise, who has plenty of running room. Christian Wise up the right side into Jacksonville territory. There goes Wise, and he's going to go the distance for a Portland touchdown perhaps, and it is. Wise into the end zone. There's a flag down, however. Back near midfield. That might wipe away a phenomenal play by Christian Wise. Mentioned he wasn't the returner on the play. He was the up back. The ball got away from Eichner. Wise picked it up on the hop and had free turf up the right side, but this one is coming back. Some kind of infraction on the return, most likely a hold or a block in the back against Portland. And that's a massive penalty in this game, as there's a flag all the way down at the 1 yard line. There was another flag near midfield. That's what I initially saw. 2 fouls against Portland on the return. What a turn of events that is. Not only does Wise's touchdown get wiped off the board, Portland's going to start from its own 1 yard line. That couldn't have worked out any better for Jacksonville. A couple of holding and blocking the back calls against the steal on that return. It was kind of a bust, a jailbreak situation as Wise kind of picked up the ball and guys got turned around. So Portland backed up at its own 1 yard line. Sharks trying to get pressure on Shane Austin. Zambrano the motion man, 1st and 10. Austin back to pass, rolls right, fires deep. David Highland is back like he's fielding a punt, and it's incomplete. Zambrano fell down, and he has not gotten up yet. Of course, I said Highland was back to field a punt as if there were punts in the Arena Football League, but Highland was the only guy back there and was just trying to track the ball down. And there's a timeout on the field as Portland staff will tend to Jabin Zambrano. Looks like he just kind of blew a tire running a deep route there. That's why Highland was all alone deep. Zambrano, who has just been activated from inactive reserve, goes down, and this is a Portland team that's already without Jared Perry tonight. The Steel's second leading receiver is inactive in this game. Zambrano up on his feet. He'll get a nice round of applause from the Jacksonville faithful and will make his way somewhat gingerly but under his own power over to the Portland bench. So we'll keep an eye on that, and we'll see if Zambrano comes back into the game. Now, Portland doesn't have an extra wide receiver, at least not a natural one. Arnaz Eichner is going to come into the game and play wide out here. Mentioned with Perry inactive, Portland only with 4 receivers on its 24-man roster. So Perry already not available. Zambrano out for the time being as he's got his helmet off heading down the tunnel. So Eichner in the game is a third wide out. Tyrone Gordon motion on 2nd down. Quick pass to Gord. Slips one tackle in, another brought down by Larachi Jackson short of the first down, however. A nice recovery there by Jackson. It's a gain of about 7 yards for Gord. It'll be a 3rd down and call it a long 2 here for Portland coming up. Eichner does not have a reception this season. Fellow DB Christian Wise has got 2 catches. But Eichner has not got on the board, but is in at receiver right here. Austin, quick pass out. Has Gord, has a 1st down. That one works to perfection for Portland. They convert the 3rd and 3 as Tyrone Gord moves it up to the 14-yard line. And that's where Portland will have a new set of downs. Portland can take the lead on this possession. Jacksonville, though, still with the edge. They're up a stop, and the Sharks will be back to receive the opening kickoff of the 3rd quarter. But there's only 6:40 left before halftime. Plenty of football, though, remaining, as we see here in the Arena Football League. With Eichner in motion, Austin back to pass, a deep drop, steps up in the pocket, escapes the rush, gets clobbered by Alvin Ray Jackson, and is picked off by Larachi Jackson. LJ inside the Portland 20, down to the 15, diving down to the 10-yard line. What a play by Alvin Ray Jackson to clock Austin, and Larachi Jackson under the football as it popped up high in the air. The 4th pick of the season for LJ, and Jacksonville takes over deep inside Portland territory, just a hair outside the 10-yard line. Can't say enough about the heads-up play by both players there. Alvin Ray Jackson was aware that Shane Austin had pump-faked and broken the pocket, and that releases him from the box. So he, if he's not covering a receiver, can then come up and make a hit like he did, and then the ball pops high in the air. Larachi Jackson, who was covering a man, has the awareness to recognize that the ball was floating free and get under it, haul it in, and get a nice return on top. We'll see if Grady and the Sharks offense can turn this into a quick score. Tiger Jones in motion for Jacksonville. Grady, pass out to Hills. Catches at the 10, stiff arm, gets down to the 5-yard line. And there's going to be some more yardage tacked on as Tim Shelley gave him an extra shove into the boards. Shelley made the initial tackle, but then delivered another blow just to make sure, shoving Hills back into the boards after he was already down. And so that should move things half the distance to the goal and give the Sharks an automatic first down. Shelley's not happy about the call, but from this perspective, that one was obvious as he delivered late contact on Joe Hills. And the Sharks get an automatic first down, so call it first and goal. The ball was at the 5 after the pass. It should be brought down to about the 2, and it will be, so Jacksonville in prime position now. The Sharks have entered the Derek Ross zone. Ross has touched the ball one time tonight. It was a 23-yard touchdown. We'll see if they give it to the fullback here or try and get one of the receivers in play on this upcoming first and goal. The officials still haven't spotted the football. As now one of the other officials, not the referee, is coming with the ball, and he'll bring it down to about the 2.5-yard line like we thought. So the ball in the right college hash, first and goal, Jacksonville at the 2.5. Sharks trying to take the first 2-score lead of the game. 5:39 and counting here in quarter number 2. Trips left for Jacksonville. Tiger Jones, the high motion man. Ross directly behind Grady. Quick pass. Lowering his shoulder and into the end zone for a touchdown is London Crawford as he gets in for the second time in as many drives. And Jacksonville now has a 32-20 lead. No touchdowns in 2 games to open the season for Crawford. 2 touchdowns in his first game back from IR. You know he's fired up to get into the end zone. Tommy Grady with his 4th touchdown pass of the night. And Jacksonville again with a 2-score lead. And Stryevsky on to try and make it a 33-20 margin. Whistles down before the PAT. I think there's going to be a false start called against Jacksonville there. They're going to flag Ryan Cave. The 4th offensive lineman comes in on the protection unit for kicks. He gets whistled for the early movement, so that'll back Stryevsky up to about the 13-yard line. That'll make things a 21-yard extra point here for Jacksonville. Sean Brackett, the holder here for John Stryevsky. The snap is a good one. The hold is down. The kick is up. And the kick is good. So Stryevsky bounces back from a couple of misses despite the extra yardage. Ends up knocking it home. And it's Jacksonville 33, Portland 20. 4:50 to play here in quarter number 2. As we will step aside and come right back here on ESPN 3. A low line drive kick by Stryevsky, fielded there by Christian Wise. Short of the net, Wise with some running room up the middle, gets outside the 10-yard line. A bit of a correction is the roster we were given by Portland had Christian Wise listed as number 13, Arnes Eigner listed as number 2. It's actually flipped, so Wise is in at number 2, and he is in at receiver right now. Eigner number 13, sticking to his DB spot. So Wise has had a few reps at receiver this season. Offsides against Jacksonville on the kickoffs. That'll tack on even more yardage on the return. So a bit of a switcheroo there played by Portland again. We apologize for mixing that up, but we're given a roster that said that Wise was 13 and Eichner was 2, but we've got it right from now on. So Christian Wise will be split to the left side. Tom Gilson to the right, Tyrone Gord, the high motion man in the right slot. First and 10 from the 23. Austin has Gord across midfield. A hard hit by Larache Jackson to make the tackle, a pickup of about 6 yards there by Gord. Second and 10 for Portland as Jacksonville leads by a 33-20 count. Danielson and Gord split to the left. Now Wise swings around in motion into the left slot, so a trips formation here for Portland. A deep drop for Austin, looking deep for Wise, and that one is incomplete. Batted around there. I think it hit a fan after it was tipped by Wise. That's incomplete. The ball is dead at that point, and Jacksonville wasn't able to get a hand on it anyway. So it's a moot point, an incompletion, and a third down. Maybe that's the disadvantage there of not having a third primary receiver in the game right now. Again, Jabin Sambrano, who has 2 touchdown catches tonight, went down while running a deep route on Portland's last drive, has not yet returned to the game. I'm looking across at their bench. I don't see Sambrano with a helmet on at least, so we'll keep an eye on that. Austin to Gord, they have a first down, as Portland converts another third down with another pass to Tyrone Gord. Down to the Jacksonville 13-yard line, and it'll be 1st and 10 here for the Steel offense. A weird quirk of the schedule here tonight. Both Jacksonville and Portland lost to Cleveland in their last game, as the Sharks played the Gladiators 2 weeks ago before a bye, and then Portland lost in overtime against Cleveland this past Monday night. So not only is Jacksonville rested, but Portland is also playing on a short week. A stoppage to set the chains. As now we are ready for football. 2:25 to go here in the second quarter. Christian Wise in motion. They'll hand it off to Wise. A flag is down, and Wise is chopped down. Good penetration there by Greg Reed. I think he got enough of a piece of Wise to take him down right around the line of scrimmage. Flag down right at the point of attack. And it looks like it's against Portland because Les Moss down there on the Jacksonville sideline is signaling to decline it. Illegal formation against Portland, and Jacksonville will decline the penalty, so they'll take the down. Ends up going as a gain of about 1.5 yards by Christian Wise. And the Steel have second down from the Jacksonville 10. Portland can get a first down right down at about the 2-yard line. On second down, Austin under pressure, fires over the middle, incomplete, as it's in and out of the hands of Christian Wise, who goes in hard to the boards, and Wise is down. Went in head first and kind of had his neck snap back, so we got players motioning for the Sharks medical personnel to come out and check on Christian Wise. That one didn't look good, had a clear view because that corner is directly opposite from our broadcast position. Christian Wise has not yet gotten up as he's being tended to down there. And now he's up, so Wise is able to get off the field, and he'll be brought over to the Portland bench and certainly evaluated for a potential neck or head injury there, just with the way things snap back for him. So, again, we'll keep an eye out and see if Wise comes back into the game. Now Sergio Gilliam becomes the third receiver for Portland. Gilliam, the Jack linebacker, also played defensive back in his 6-year AFL career, but he's in at receiver right now. Gilliam does not have a reception this season. Mentioned Wise did have one earlier this year. Minute 35 to go, 3rd and 8 for Portland at the Jacksonville 10-yard line. Austin, quick pass, Gord, incomplete as the receiver turned before he pulled it in, and that one drops to the turf. And now a 4th down chance for Jacksonville to make yet another stand and possibly get their 3rd stop of the first half. The Sharks got a turnover on downs on Portland's second drive. That was a David Highland pass breakup. Then Alvin Ray Jackson hammered Austin, forcing a throw that just popped into the air and into the arms of Larachi Jackson for an interception. That one happened just a couple of drives ago. Portland needs the 2. They're at the 10, but we will get the 1-minute timeout before this very critical 4th down opportunity. So we will step aside, take immediate timeout for the 1 minute. And when we come back, Portland has 4th and 8 from the Jacksonville 10-yard line. Sharks up 33-20 here on ESPN3. Man here on 4th and 8. Austin with a deep drop, steps up, fires left. And that one is caught short of the end zone for a first down by Tom Gilson. That one hard to see from our vantage point, but Gilson pulls it in. And a timeout is called. It looks like Portland is spotted beyond the lines of game. Officials are talking things over right now as they try and determine exactly what the ruling is. Right now, the ball is spotted inside the 1 yard line, so it would be a first and goal for the Steel. 50 seconds left here in quarter number 2. They're going to put 5 seconds back on the clock because the ruling was that Gilson caught the football, was then contacted into the wall. With the 1 minute timing rules in arena football in the second and fourth quarters, it's treated like an out of bounds play in outdoor football. So Gilson goes into the wall. That stops the clock. No team has to call timeout. Now first and goal for Portland at the 1 yard line. Gilliam in high motion. Austin takes it himself, and he'll sneak into the end zone for a Steel touchdown. So back-to-back nice plays by Shane Austin. First, he converts the 4th and 8 with a low throw to Tom Gilson, then gets into the end zone by himself on a 1 yard quarterback sneak. And that brings Portland within 7 points with the PAT still to come. Jacksonville, though, still in the driver's seat right now as they lead by a score. They know they're getting the ball to start the third quarter, and they're about to get the football here. Ernesto Lacayo on for the PAT. Darren Thomas handles the low snap, puts the ball down. The kick is up and good. So Lacayo drills it. He's 3 for 4 so far. And it's Jacksonville 33, Portland 27 with 53 seconds remaining in quarter number 2. With this situation, we could be in for a long final 53 seconds here in the second quarter because this is the part of the game where coaches on both sides might go to the onside kick method, trying to control the clock. Because if you're Portland, you want Jacksonville, if they're going to score, to take as little time as possible. If the Sharks can drive the field and force Portland to use their timeouts, they then might be able to burn it down and score right before halftime. So Portland could onside kick to try and prevent that by giving the Sharks a first and goal opportunity, in which case Jacksonville would have a maximum of 4 plays, and if Portland calls its timeouts, really couldn't run the clock down very much. We'll see what Ron James decides to do. James, a longtime AFL coach in his first season with Portland. James was actually Tommy Grady's head coach with the Pittsburgh Power back in 2014. Spent last year on the staff of the Cleveland Gladiators. And James also with Grady back in his Utah Blaze days. So those two guys on opposite sides tonight, very familiar with one another, however. The Sharks most definitely expect an onside kick here. London Crawford and Joe Hills are the guys that would come up to try and defend a high hop. The front line is ready for a slow roll. David Highland, the lone man deep, probably won't factor into this play. Lacayo has it teed up as far left as he can go, and they'll kick it deep. A bit of a surprising move there by Portland. Highland fields it off the net and takes it up the middle, slips past one tackle out to about the 8 yard line, gets taken down by Mike McMillan right there. Interesting decision there by Ron James in Portland. Rather than trying to play the clock timeout game with an onside kick, they're going to kick it deep and take their chances against Jacksonville's offense that scored 5 touchdowns on 5 drives to this point. 49 seconds left for Jacksonville. We'll see how this unfolds with Portland potentially using its timeouts if the Sharks keep the ball in bounds. Hill split far to the right. Crawford to the left. Jones, the high motion man. Quick pass to Hills, and it's incomplete. Joe couldn't quite pull it in along the wall. Only 2 seconds expire, and Jacksonville now 2nd and 10. A very efficient performance for Tommy Grady so far. That just his 3rd incompletion of the game. Grady is 11 of 14, a buck 25 and 4 touchdowns. On the other side, Shane Austin, right about 50%, 12 of 23, 117 and 3 scores, but also has a critical interception. Second and 10 for Jacksonville. Grady Hills over the middle, past midfield, down the left side, and inside the 15-yard line. A big gainer from Tommy Grady to Joe Hills. The clock runs as Mike McMillan takes Hills down inbounds, and Jacksonville will now try and burn it down as much as they can. So Portland really not trying to get the ball back with a whole lot of time at this point. Jacksonville burns it all the way down to 24 before a timeout is finally taken. Based on the official's announcement, it sounds like that timeout was called by Portland. If that's the case, interesting there, because the steal really allowed about 15 seconds to burn off the clock. The Sharks have first and 10 from the Portland 12-yard line. 33-27, Jacksonville on top, 24 seconds left in quarter number 2. So all that talk about onside kicks, and Jacksonville uses more than half of the remaining 53 seconds on 2 plays. Remember, the Sharks will be back to receive the opening kickoff of the third quarter, so presumably, barring an onside kick or some kind of net recovery, would get the first possession of the second half. So this is a chance for the Sharks to get a double score. Then get the final touchdown before halftime, go up by 2 scores, get the ball and score to open the third. That would give them a 3-score lead and get things rolling into the second half. They do finally take the timeout away from Portland on the video board. So 2 timeouts left for the steal, 3 for Jacksonville. The ball just outside the 12, called the 12.5-yard line, first and 10. The Sharks can obviously get a new set of downs inside the 2-yard line. Jones, Hills, and Crawford at receiver, all to the right. Tiger, the high motion man, splits the other 2. Grady with a pump fake, then fires. A flag is down as Tiger Jones hauls it in for a Jacksonville touchdown. Jones emphatically puts the ball down, gets set to celebrate. Grady thinks it's a score as he's walking back toward the bench. Derek Ross agrees, as does Cornelius Lewis. It's illegal defense against Portland, and that's a Jacksonville touchdown. The Sharks now 6 touchdowns on 6 first-half possessions, 5 touchdown passes without a pick for Tommy Grady, and Jacksonville up 39-27 with just 20 seconds remaining here in the first half. Brackett's got his knee down at the 9-yard line. Strajewski on for the PAT. The snap is good, the ball is down. The kick is up, and the kick is good. So after 2 misses in a row, back-to-back makes by Strajewski in his Sharks debut this season. And Jacksonville back up by that 13-point margin. It's 40-27 with 20 seconds left here in the second quarter. I mentioned before that the Sharks trail Orlando and Philadelphia by a significant amount in the standings. Orlando 7-0, Philadelphia 6-1, Jacksonville 2-4. So the Sharks will really need some help, even if they can take the remaining matchups against Orlando and Philadelphia. Well, those are the next 3 games. The Sharks play Orlando twice in 3 weeks. They'll go to Orlando next week and then host Philadelphia and Orlando on consecutive home games. And actually, there's another trip to Tampa in between, so it's not the next 3 games, but 3 of the next 4 games for Jacksonville. So they'll go to Orlando next week on Friday night, back here Saturday, June 4th against the Philadelphia Soul, a trip to Tampa on June 11th, and then right back here on June 18th against Orlando. So we'll find out a lot about if the Sharks have a chance to make up ground in the American Conference standings after that 3 or 4 game stretch. Again, right now, Jacksonville at 2-4. Tampa does not have a win this season. They and Portland, the two winless teams in the Arena Football League. Eichner back deep to receive here for Portland. Strajewski's got it teed up at the goal line. He'll take his steps and deliver a high end-over-end kick back toward the net, but it's fielded short of the net by Eichner. He'll head up the middle with some space out past the 15 near the 20-yard line, and a bit of an opportunity now for Portland. 16 seconds for the steal to work with. Eichner gets all the way out to the 21, and that's what happens sometimes when you don't hit the net. Rather than having to turn around, field it off the net, compose himself, turn back, and head upfield, Eichner basically could plant his back foot and drive through the ball as he caught it. Sometimes that half second that you get when the ball doesn't go off the net is the difference between a short return and a good one. That time, Eichner gets almost a 30-yard return out to the 21-yard line. Portland's got 2 timeouts and 16 seconds to work with. Gilson and Gord split to the right. Gilliam, the high motion man, he'll come around to the right as well. Shane Austin back to pass, gets hit, that pass high and incomplete over the outstretched arm of Tom Gilson. 5 seconds expire, 11 ticks left on the clock. 2nd and 10 for Portland. Right now the down not as critical as the timeout, or the clock situation I should say, for the steal. They've got 2 timeouts, but they're going to need to get some ground in a hurry if they want a makeable field goal, and obviously they need 29 yards in 11 seconds if they want to get into the end zone. 40-27, Jacksonville on top of Portland. Gilson, the high motion man. Another deep drop for Austin, steps up, flag is down. Austin scrambles, loses the football as he was going down, but it ends up falling right into his breadbasket. 5 seconds tick off the clock. Again, there's laundry back at the 15-yard line in the offensive backfield. So Austin gets about 7 yards on the quarterback scramble. But it looks like it's going to be holding against Portland. Kevin Myers is giving kind of a who me gesture with his arms, but they're marching the steal back. And that's a good thing for Jacksonville because the time will count. And there's 6 seconds remaining on the clock here in the first half. So I mentioned Myers was given the who me gesture. It was actually Duke Robinson, former Jacksonville Shark, called for the flag. Robinson never actually played a game for Jacksonville, but was on the Sharks' active roster for the first 3 or 4 games of this season before being traded to Portland for Jamar Howard. Timeout is called. Teams will talk things over. Again, each team's got at least 2 timeouts heading into that situation. So can't take them with you into the second half, so Portland uses one here to get their play call correct. It's not out of the realm of possibility that Portland could pick up a chunk of yardage in less than 6 seconds. Quick pass to the high motion man over the middle could get you 12 to 15 yards in about 4 seconds, and that might lead them to try a field goal by Ernesto Lacayo. Then again, Portland's down by 13 points, so a field goal doesn't do a ton for you. You're still about down by 2 scores. There's really 2 options here. Shane Austin can try a medium range pass in less than 6 seconds, or he can fling it deep and try and go for it all. From the 11-yard line, 6 seconds left here in the second quarter. Quick pass by Austin. Gilliam has it, immediately puts the ball over the boards. And so Portland goes with the quick pass. The Sharks were really playing deep in the secondary, so Gilliam had all the running room he wanted, but the MO there for Portland was get the ball, put it over the wall, stop the clock. 3 seconds left. The ball at the 16-yard line. This is too far back for a field goal attempt. So Austin and the Portland offense will stay on the field. The Sharks have Kareem Smith, Jason Holman, and Laith Walschlager along the defensive line. Dexter Jackson, the MAC linebacker, trying to get after Shane Austin on this play. It's 3rd and 15. The down not very significant, though, with just 3 seconds left here in the second quarter. Before we get to that, Portland will call yet another timeout. Getting all their ducks in a row here before what is presumably, barring a defensive penalty, the final play of the first half. Sharks have a 2-score lead courtesy of 2 defensive stops. David Highland, an outstanding diving pass breakup on a 4th down play back in the first quarter. And then Alvin Ray Jackson, a heads-up play to charge and hit Shane Austin as he was releasing the football. And that one popped up into the air, fell into the arms of Larache Jackson, who took the pick and brought it inside Portland's 15-yard line to set up a quick Jacksonville touchdown. 3 seconds left. Here we go. Austin with the football. Back to pass. Time expires. He flings it deep toward the net. It's off the net. It's up. And it looks like it's intercepted in the end zone. L.J. Jackson gets the pick, so that's number 5 of the season for Larache Jackson. A heads-up play to get the ball off the net, keep Portland out of the end zone, and add 1 pick to the total as well. So at halftime, it's Jacksonville 40 and Portland 27. We will step aside and come right back in about 10 or 12 minutes for the start of the third quarter. Again, a 2-score lead for Jacksonville, and they will be back to receive the opening kickoff of the third quarter. So we'll see you after halftime here on ESPN 3. And we're underway in the third quarter as Lacayo does kick it deep. Highland smoothly fields it off the rebound net, heads up the middle of the field looking for a block, lowers his shoulder at the 10, gets out to about the 12-yard line. Solid run back there by David Highland, took what he was given, made the most of it. Gets taken down by Robert Hayes, but not before, again, getting out to the 12 or 13-yard line and giving Tommy Grady and the Sharks offense some pretty good field position. Regardless of where they've started, the Sharks have ended every drive with a touchdown so far tonight. Grady 13 of 16, a buck 68 and 5 touchdowns. Derek Ross has just 1 carry, but it went for 23 yards and a score. Tiger Jones and London Crawford 2 touchdowns apiece. Joe Hills with 1, a hard count from Grady, and I think that one got a couple of Portland Steel players to jump. It's Brandon Cisse called for offsides, and that is critical here in the Arena Football League because of the rules with offsides. If Cisse gets flagged for another offside, he can't play defense the rest of the game. He can still participate on special teams, but he would be out of the contest. Cisse the nose right now for this Portland squad. Crawford the motion man, toss sweep to Ross, heads to the right side. Now turns upfield, gets a solid pickup of about 6 yards on 1st and 5. That'll move the sticks. Give Jacksonville a first down, so not a lot of opportunities with the football for Derek Ross, but he's making the most of them. A touchdown, then a first down. Ross already became the first 3,000-yard rusher in AFL history tonight. So far, so good for the boss, who's got a score in tonight's contest. Trips left for Grady. Quick pass to Crawford. This one batted in the air, and it's incomplete. A nice athletic play there by Dexter Davis Jr. They've tried that quick swing pass to London Crawford a few times, and I think Davis kind of sniffed it out that time. Instead of cutting upfield, kind of bellied to the outside to get his hand in the throwing lane, and ends up going as an incompletion. Tim Shelley over there lobbying with one of the officials, maybe saying that it was a backwards pass, but it was thrown forward despite the deflection. It'll be 2nd and 10 for Jacksonville from its own 24-yard line. Opening drive of the third quarter, Sharks on top by 13 points. Quick pass for Grady, hits Crawford, nice catch by London, and he cuts back upfield to lower his shoulder and pick up 3 or 4 more yards. A gain of about 3 yards for Jacksonville, so a more manageable, I should say, third down. Call it 3rd and a long 6 coming up here for the Sharks. Jones in motion on third down. I think Grady got Portland to jump offsides yet again. Has London Crawford, who slips a tackle and dives down to the 2-yard line. London almost kept his feet and got into the end zone. Couldn't quite. It was going to be an offsides against the steal. That should be declined by Jacksonville, as they would obviously take the yardage on the reception. It's actually a legal formation against Portland, so similar yardage would be assessed. The penalty is declined. A big gain by Crawford. And now a first and goal for Jacksonville at the 3-yard line. The game plan for the Sharks offense really doesn't change, at least in terms of the simplest qualities. Just score the football. They've scored on every drive so far. If they keep doing that, well, they're going to be in pretty good shape here in this game. From the 3-yard line, Grady back to pass, pump fakes, fires deep, has an open man, and it is caught for a Jacksonville touchdown. As Joe Hills hauls in number 2 so far tonight, and he'll take the football all the way back toward the other end zone. Hills now with 2 touchdowns. Tiger Jones with 2 touchdowns. London Crawford with 2 touchdowns. Tommy Grady spreading the ball around evenly as he's got 6 TD passes tonight. And Jacksonville with his first 3-score lead of the game, 46-27, with Stryevsky on for another PAT. Brackett to hold. The snap is good. The ball is down. The laces are in. And Stryevsky cannot connect. Don't know if the laces affected the kick, but either way, that's the 3rd missed kick of the game for Stryevsky. Jacksonville, though, still leads by 3 scores, a 19-point lead, 46-27, 10:55 to play here in quarter number 3. So we will step aside and come right back as Portland is set to get the ball in dire need of points. We will be back in just a moment here on ESPN3. End over end from Stryevsky. This one fielded by Eichner short of the wall. Eichner with some running room out across the 10. Gets outside the 15-yard line. L.J. Jackson chopped him down at about the 16, but another good return there by the speedy Eichner. As Portland will start at the 17-yard line on this drive. Shane Austin threw for 360-plus yards in last week's game. Completed 36 passes, but not as efficient as it could have been. Only scored 48 points. Ends up throwing 6 touchdowns and 4 interceptions last week, his season debut. He's at 3-1 so far tonight. On first down, hits Tom Gilson, who cuts it back to the right. Picks up about 4 yards on the play. Finally gets corralled by the Jacksonville defense. Gilson, 6'2", 200, 4th season out of UMass. Played with the LA Kiss last year, now here in Portland. Laith Walschlager, Mark Voda, Cream Smith up front for Jacksonville. Dexter Jackson, the MAC. Jacksonville does not have a sack so far in tonight's game. 2nd down and 6. Austin back to pass over the middle. That one batted and incomplete. Tyrone Gord again trying to pull it in on the run. Couldn't quite get the handle. And that one ends up hitting the turf about a step in front of Greg Reed, who was trying to come up and get it and possibly return it the distance. But it's an incompletion and a 3rd down. Sergio Gilliam still in at wide receiver. We have not seen Jabin Sambrano return to the game. Austin over the middle, and that one's intercepted by Greg Reed. He is down the sideline, and Reed toward the corner. And Greg Reed, they're waiting for the signal. It looks like he will be spotted down at the 1-yard line. But what a play by Greg Reed, who jumps around, hauls in his 4th pick of the year. And Jacksonville with a 1st and goal at the 1. The 2nd-year man out of Florida State, the AFL's 2015 Rookie of the Year. And Greg Reed off to another spectacular start here in 2016. Correction, that is the 3rd interception throw by Shane Austin. I mentioned at the start of the drive he was at 3-1. He actually had 2 picks because Larache Jackson hauled in one off the net on the final play of the first half. That was number 3. And what a play by Greg Reed there. The Sharks have had opportunities in this game to jump routes. Larachi Jackson had one bounce off his hands that would have been a pick six. He also has 2 picks beyond that. David Highland has had a couple of great pass breakups cutting in front of receivers, and that time it's Greg Reed who jumps around, takes it down the sideline, and now a 1st and goal. Grady, handoff Ross, running left, and Ross loses the ball but gets it back, and he's in for a touchdown. Derek Ross didn't make it as easy as he could have, but it's still 6 points for Jacksonville as the Sharks now lead by 25 points, a 4-score lead. All Jacksonville right now as the Sharks lead 52-27 with 8 minutes and counting to go here in the 3rd quarter. Want to remind you that this game was tied at 20-20. And since then, Jacksonville is on a 32-7 run. A bunch of defensive stops, back-to-back scores at the end of the 2nd and start of the 3rd quarter. And now another turnover leads to another touchdown. Jacksonville will go for 2. Grady, handoff Ross, takes it up the middle, and he is going to be spotted down, it appears, short of the goal line, so that one's no good. Jacksonville trying to make up for some of the missed extra points with a 2-point conversion, but they cannot. It is still a 4-score margin, however. Portland will need to score 4 times in some manner to potentially take the lead as Jacksonville leads by 25, 52-27. Only halfway through the 3rd quarter, 7:29 to play here in quarter number 3. So we'll step aside, come right back here at Seabass Field. The Sharks up by 25 here on ESPN 3. Appreciation Night presented by Darley's Plumbing. Jacksonville 52, Portland 27. 7:29 to go in quarter number 3. Portland is in dire need of points, and they're doing it with a short-handed offense. The Steel only dressed 3 natural wide receivers tonight. Jabin Zambrano went down in the 2nd quarter. He has not returned to the game. Christian Wise, normally a DB, was brought in to play wideout. He took a hard hit into the boards, or just went into the boards on his own in an awkward angle, and he hasn't returned to the game. Sergio Gilliam is in the game at receiver right now. Really the 5th option jack linebacker DB type player for this Portland team. So they're still trying to come back with really only 2 natural receiving threats on the roster right now. Arnez Eichner back to return, cuts it up the left side, slips past 1 tackle and gets taken down at about the 6-yard line. I think Eichner kind of lost his footing, and Laith Walshlager was there to clean it up. As Jacksonville will be on defense with Portland starting this drive just outside the 5-yard line. Mentioned that next Friday the Sharks will head down to Orlando for a matchup against the Predators. Chance to return the favor after Orlando beat them by 7 here on Seabass Field back in week 3. There's a bus trip available. Shark fans, if you want to head on down to Orlando to check out your team in action, there will be a fan bus leaving on Friday, the day of the game. More info on that momentarily as Sergio Gilliam, the high motion man, on 1st and 10. Austin back to pass, fires deep down the right side looking for Gilson and has him. And Gilson gets hit and looks like is going to be ruled down at the 1-yard line, but a big play there as Gilson slipped behind Reed and Jackson, takes it all the way down to the Portland 1-yard line. And Gilson is slow to get up. Tyrone Gord is calling for a trainer. And we'll keep an eye on Tom Gilson because he's one of the only 2 true receivers left on this Portland roster. He tried to get up, then went back down to get treatment. So Portland's training staff will take a look at Tom Gilson after another big play by the 4th-year receiver. Mentioned, though, the bus trip to Orlando, a great opportunity for Shark fans as you'll get a chance to see the team take on their rival Predators at Amway Center down there in Orlando. And again, that game Friday, May 27th. 7:30 p.m. kickoff down in the jungle. $120 is the price for non-season ticket holders, $110 for Sharks season ticket holders, and that includes a lot. You get 2-way transportation to and from the game, and you get great seats, lower bowl seats, right behind the Sharks bench down there in Orlando. Not a cheap ticket there at Amway Center. So great opportunity again to go and check out the Sharks in action. You also get food provided by Firehouse Subs on the way down, soft drinks and water courtesy of Coca-Cola, opportunity to bring other beverages as well if you choose to in a soft-sided cooler. So a great chance to bond with your fellow Shark fans head on down to see the team in action in Orlando next week and come right back that night. No need to book a hotel. No need to worry about driving to and from Orlando, dealing with Friday traffic. Yeah, you'll be dealing with traffic, but you'll be in a bus with 40 or 50 of your closest friends checking out that game. So all the information can be found on jacksharks.com. You can also contact Sharks Assistant General Manager Jack Benigno at J-A-C-K at jacksharks.com. That's jaxsharks.com, or call 904-900-2060, extension 701. Again, not a lot of time to act. The game is next Friday, so if you're watching today at home and you didn't come out to tonight's game but want to head down to Orlando next Friday, the opportunity is there. All the information about the cost, what you get, what you can bring, when you're leaving, where you're leaving, and who to contact. You can find all of that on jacksharks.com. Click on news, and you will see the article with all the info about the fan bus to Orlando. A big game for Jacksonville next week, but they've got plenty of work to do here tonight. First and goal from the 1-yard line for Portland. Austin takes it himself. He will, with a second effort, get into the end zone. Initially looked like he was stopped, but Shane Austin did a great job to stay on his feet and then dive forward with that second effort, his second rushing touchdown of the game. And Portland stops a bit of a run by Jacksonville. The Steel get back on the board. It's now 52-33 with just under 6 minutes left in the third quarter. Ernesto Lacayo on for the PAT. Darren Thomas to hold. Thomas puts the ball down at the 10. Lacayo's kick is up and right down the middle. Lacayo converts. Portland cuts it to 18. Still a 3-score lead for Jacksonville. 52-34 is the tally. 5:22 to play here in the third quarter, and we will take another media timeout. So we'll come right back in just a moment. The Sharks trying to answer and score for their 9th consecutive drive. They're 8 for 8 so far, and they'll try and make it a perfect 9 for 9 when we come back here on ESPN3. Lacayo on, he'll kick it deep. End over end, Highland back toward the wall. This one, though, will go through the slack net and out for a touchback. Highland, no opportunity to even catch that one. As with 5:17 to go, the Sharks will start at the 5-yard line. The first two home games, Shark fans were treated a fantastic football. A pair of great games against two of the AFL's top teams. Unfortunately, though, the Sharks couldn't pull out either of them. A 7-point loss to Orlando in regulation. A game against Arizona that went to overtime. That one also a 7-point loss. Jacksonville trying to finish the job here against Portland, up 52-34. Grady, handoff Ross on first down. The fullback takes it forward for about 3 or 4 yards. Nice pickup there for Jacksonville. Trying to use some plays to move the clock a little bit, but hey, if you keep scoring, you're going to be in good shape, and that's what Jacksonville has done all game, and that's what they hope to do here on this possession. I mentioned 8 touchdowns earlier for the Sharks. How about this for balance? Jacksonville has got 6 touchdown passes by Tommy Grady, 2 to Tiger Jones, 2 to Joe Hills, and 2 to London Crawford. And then Derek Ross has 2 rushing touchdowns as well. So the 4 guys that are going to touch the ball for this offense, they've each scored exactly 2 times tonight. Now Grady hits Hills on his second option. Hills cuts it back upfield, gets out near midfield, a first down. Nice running after the catch by Joe Hills. Gets about another 8 yards after receiving the football. That's a first down at midfield for Jacksonville. Even though the record is just 2-4, the numbers for Tommy Grady outstanding so far this season. Came in 32 touchdowns against just 3 picks, a 66.4% completion percentage. All those figures going up tonight in terms of the completion percentage and the TD to INT ratio. Grady under pressure, and he'll go down, hit from behind, and he gets sacked for only the 2nd time this season. I think initial contact there was made by Robert Hayes, and then Dexter Javis Jr. comes up and cleans it up. Mentioned the Sharks have one of the better O-lines in the league, if not the best. 6 games, only 1 sack allowed. That one's number 2. And it backs Jacksonville all the way back up to a 2nd and long at their own 19-yard line. 6-yard loss on the play following the sack. And really, for the first time all game, the Sharks are working from behind the chains. with under 3 to go in the third quarter. Grady back to pass under pressure, rolls out, fires deep, has a wide open man into the end zone, and it's caught by Joe Hills for a Jacksonville touchdown. Tommy Grady makes a play with his feet to extend the pocket. Joe Hills gets open, and Grady fires deep for a 31-yard touchdown. The third score of the game for Hills, and Jacksonville now leads 58-34. Sharks offense so far, 9 possessions, 9 touchdowns, 58 points, and the all-time team record is in play. Jacksonville has never scored 80 points in a game. Worth mentioning that because they got 40 in the first half. On track for almost 20 points here in quarter number 3 as well. Strajewski on for the PAT. This one gets blocked. So again, the Sharks can't convert. And Jacksonville now leads by just 24 points, so it's still technically a 3-score game. Portland with 3 touchdowns and 3 2-point conversions would tie it if Jacksonville doesn't score again. And again, they've scored on every drive, so we'll see how that goes. Anyway, 1:56 to go in quarter number 3. Jacksonville 58, Portland 34. As we will step aside, take another media timeout, and come right back for the final 2 minutes of the third quarter here on ESPN3. Here in the third quarter, the Sharks in business to this point, but got to keep playing, finish the job these final 16 minutes and 56 seconds to try and get their first home win of the year, improve to 3-4, and get some momentum going into a showdown with Orlando next week. Strajewski has it teed up, drills an end-over-end kick. That one over the head of Eichner into the field suites. That'll be a touchback, and Portland's offense will start at the 5-yard line. Want to mention that Tom Gilson is back on the field. He kind of pulled up after a long catch on the last drive, but Portland does have 2 traditional wide receivers in the game. It's a story that's really presented itself over the course of the contest where first Jabin Zambrano, a starting wideout, went down, then Christian Wise went down, and now Sergio Gilliam's having to go both ways here for Portland. And not an ideal situation for the Steel as they're in search of their first win of the season. The last thing they need is to be undermanned at such a critical spot, but that's how it's been to this point at wide receiver. Gilson wide to the left, Gord in the left slot. Gilliam, the high motion man, 1st and 10 from the 5-yard line. Austin back to pass, fires to the right, that one caught. Nice play there by Gilliam as he hauls it in. So first catch of, I believe, the season for Sergio Gilliam. Actually had 1 catch earlier in this game, so that's the second for Gilliam, and a first down for Portland after the 11-yard pickup. Just 3 touchdowns against 3 picks for Shane Austin so far, though he does have 2 touchdowns on the ground. As Portland, 34 points, has turned the ball over 3 times and been stopped on downs. Austin going deep for Gord toward the corner. It's up and incomplete. Nice defense by Greg Reed as he elevates against a bigger receiver. Goes right up there with the 6'4" Tyrone Gord. The 5'9" Reed makes a play. It'll be 2nd down and 10. That's what you have to do if you're a middle safety here in the AFL. You're going to be in isolated coverage. You're going to be the last line of defense. And more often than not, you're going to be giving up 4, 5, sometimes even more inches on you. That's the case for Reed, and as he's shown time and time again, he is more than capable of doing the job. From the 16, Austin back to pass, steps up, looks incomplete. Tried to float that one over the Jack linebacker, Alvin Ray Jackson, was looking for Tyrone Gord, but it was a bit too strong. Austin didn't have much of a window there, and that's the end of the third quarter. Jacksonville 58, Portland 34. It'll be a 3rd and 10 for the Portland offense as the Sharks try to get another stop. We will come right back in just a minute here on ESPN3. Appreciation Night presented by Darley's Plumbing. Jacksonville 58, Portland 34. The Sharks on their way, but got to finish over the final 15 minutes. Portland's got a 3rd and 10 from its own 16-yard line here as we open up quarter number 4. Gilliam, the high motion man, all 3 receivers on the left side. Austin back to pass, rolls left, fires, and that one is caught there by Tom Gilson just past the line to gain. Good job by Gilson to recognize where the sticks were, sit down just a yard beyond. However, there is a flag down back in the offensive backfield, and they're talking to Ron James over there, asking him if he wants to take the penalty. So it appears it will be against Jacksonville. Looks like an illegal defense call against Dexter Jackson for an illegal rush. Again, there's specific rules. The MAC linebacker can only go through the A gaps, and if you go too far outside, that's illegal defense. The penalty declined as Portland picked up 11 yards and a first down on the play. A bit more of an opening than there would be for Portland. It's a 24-point game, which is a three-score contest with the potential of 3 touchdowns and 3 two-point conversions. Austin under pressure, rolls right, scrambles, gets away from a couple of defenders and gets down after a gain of about 4 yards. Finally tracked down by Mark Wayvoda, who had a couple of cracks at Austin, but for a guy who you might not expect to run a whole lot, very shifty with his feet. Austin's not a very big guy, not someone that's really going to use his physical force. So when I say that you don't expect him, he's not the type of quarterback that's going to pull the ball down, lower his shoulder, and kind of power through you. But he's shifty and able to make plays with his feet. Not a lot of design runs, but a lot of good scrambles, and that time picks up about 5 or 6 yards. 2 receivers to the right, Gordon Gilson. Second down and a long 4. Austin hits Gord, spins out of a tackle, goes down right around the first down marker. Larachi Jackson finally makes the tackle. Think that'll be a first down for Portland, and it will be. They'll move the chains. It's at the 12-yard line, so Portland can get another first down. Jacksonville trying to get another stop. The Sharks have 4 stops so far tonight. 3 interceptions and a turnover on down. Austin with 3 touchdown passes, 2 touchdowns on the ground. On the flip side, Tommy Grady with 17 tosses, and Derek Ross with 3. Or 2, I should say, on the ground for Jacksonville. Quick pass out to Gilson, has some running room up the left side. Gets forced into the wall by Jackson, but not before it gets about 7 yards on the play. That play design very similar to something the Sharks run with London Crawford on a fairly consistent basis. The other 2 receivers on that side throwing blocks, a quick pass out to the wideout, and just trying to beat his man to the corner and get as many yards as possible. Gilson does a good job there. As it's second down and 2 from about the 4-yard line. 12:25 to go in the ball game. Sharks up 58-34. Austin back to pass on second down. Throws to the right. That one is caught by Tom Gilson for a touchdown. There's a flag down, however. And based on the reaction from the Shark fans, they think this one's going against Portland. Ron James not happy with the call, neither is Shane Austin over there. Darren Thomas to come onto the field to be the holder, but he may have to retreat to the bench depending on which way this flag goes. It'll be offensive pass interference called against Gilson. They say he pushed off. Portland certainly not happy with the call because that wipes 6 points off the board and backs the steal up to a second down and 13 from the 14-yard line. Deveritt Gollington, John Collins, and Duke Robinson, the 3 offensive linemen. Kevin Myers, the fullback, trying to protect Shane Austin here on second down. Austin fires to the right, deep, looking for Gord. That one is incomplete. Larachi Jackson went up with the receiver. Enough interference to prevent Gord from making the catch. It'll be third down. More often than not tonight, Jacksonville's defensive backs have been in position to make a play. There's been a few coverage busts, but you're going to get that in the Arena Football League. We've seen it plenty on the other side with Jacksonville's receivers, but whether it's Greg Reed, whether it's David Highland, whether it's Larachi Jackson, or whether it's Alvin Ray Jackson kind of making some heads-up plays at Jack, the Sharks secondary getting the job done here in this game. Third down, Austin, quick pass out to the right. Gilson cuts upfield, slips out of one tackle, gets taken down. Well short of the first down marker. Good job by Alvin Ray Jackson to kind of close down in the middle of the field as Gilson did have a bit of running room. It's going to be 4th down now for Portland. If the Steel want to get back in this game, they need a conversion here because they haven't stopped the Sharks offense to this point once. This Portland drive is used almost a third of the 4th quarter. 10:37 and counting to go. 4th down and 6. As Austin drops back to pass, steps up in the pocket, fires, has Gilson. He might be short. This will depend on the spot. The ball spotted right around the 2.5-yard line. That's a Jacksonville first down. Greg Reed and the Sharks come up and make the hit. Gilson does not get the first down. It's another turnover on downs forced by the Jacksonville defense. It's another stop. It's another offensive opportunity to add points to the scoreboard as the Sharks will take over at their own 3-yard line. Sometimes it doesn't always take a pass breakup. Sometimes you just got to make the hit, wrap up, and prevent the guy from reaching for extra yardage. That's exactly what happened right there. Jacksonville gets a much needed stop. And the Sharks now with a chance to just about salt this game away if they can go down and score and go up by 4 touchdowns. Tiger Jones, the motion man, 1st and 10 from the 3. Grady, the pass tipped. That went into a dangerous spot. I think, again, it was Dexter Davis Jr., the defensive end there, to get a hand on it. He had one earlier in the game. They were looking for Tiger Jones on a quick pass. Grady kind of double clutched. Maybe his timing was thrown off by Davis, and it ends up being deflected, 2nd and 10. Of course, if you're Jacksonville, the benefit there. Outside of the final minute, the clock continues to run regardless of if the pass is caught or not. So it's another opportunity to burn 35 more seconds off the clock. Hills in motion on 2nd and 10. Grady, pump fake, hits Crawford over the middle. London at the 15-yard line has first down yardage. Nice job once again after the catch by the always physical London Crawford to get out to the 15. It's a gain of 12 and a Jacksonville first down. Crawford now tied with Joe Hills with 7 receptions so far tonight. Hills has gone for more yardage. Hills 7 for 111 and 3 touchdowns. Crawford 7 for 70 and 2. Relatively speaking, a quieter night for the birthday boy, Tiger Jones. Turns 34 today. He's got 2 scores to this point. Grady, quick pass. Crawford has it in stride across midfield, inside the 20. Lowers his shoulder, fighting for extra yardage. Knocks the helmet off of Tim Shelley as he finally gets taken down at the 12-yard line. That is the London Crawford the Jacksonville Sharks fans came to know in the first half of the 2014 season when he was one of the top receivers in the Arena Football League before suffering a freak knee injury that cost him really a full calendar year. London got worked back into the lineup at the end of last season, but really never really hit his full stride. And now a chance back from an IR stint this season to really get a rhythm going and doing the job on this drive. Quick pass, Crawford gets some blocks in front. At the 5, down inside the 5 to the 2. It's the Tommy Grady to London Crawford show here. As Jacksonville picks up another 8 or 9 yards, it'll be 2nd down, and the clock continues to run. This is essentially the perfect scenario for Jacksonville in this situation. You use 3 or 4 minutes, you get down, you score another touchdown, and you make it really difficult for Portland to really have any hope whatsoever. So far, 9 touchdowns on 9 drives for Jacksonville. They've got a 2nd and 1 from the 3-yard line. Ross directly behind Grady. Grady takes a snap, fires out to the outside, and it's caught by Joe Hills. His 4th touchdown of the game, and Jacksonville now leads 64-34. A 30-point edge. The 8th touchdown pass of the game for Tommy Grady. The 22nd of the season for Joe Superman Hills, as he makes a case for first-team All-Arena after a second-team selection last year. And Jacksonville again leads by 30. Now under 7 minutes to play here on Seabest Field. The numbers are quite frankly ridiculous for Tommy Grady so far tonight. 22 of 27 for 288 and 8 touchdowns. If you're keeping track as we get set for the PAT here. Sean Brackett fields the high snap, puts it down. Strajewski's kick is up and good. So Jacksonville leads by 31, 65-34. But Grady's got 3 more touchdowns, 8, than he does incompletions, 5. Even for a guy with the resume that Tommy Grady has and just the established track record of success in the league, he's approaching 30,000 yards. He's one of a few members of the 600 touchdown club. He'll make a run at 700 this year. Still, that's an incredible performance by Tommy Grady, fully in command of the offense so far tonight. There really hasn't been any pass that could potentially have been intercepted by an opponent. Only 5 balls have hit the turf for Jacksonville. And that's a pretty big reason right there why the Sharks have scored 10 touchdowns in 10 drives. So we'll step aside and come right back. 6:15 to go. Sharks up by 31 points here on ESPN. Portland 34, 6:15 to go in the ball game. The Sharks trying to get their first home win of the season. They are well on their way at this point. Strajewski, his end-over-end boot will be fielded a couple of yards shy of the net by Arness Eichner. Eichner cuts toward the middle of the field and gets tracked down from behind by David Highland. Looked like Andrew Robustelli in on the hit as well. Good job to corral the speedy Arness Eichner, and Jacksonville will have a decent spot on defense as Portland will start at the 9-yard line. We've got another media timeout on the field, so we will step aside yet again and come right back. 6:05 to play here in the third quarter. Jacksonville, or in the fourth quarter, I should say. Jacksonville on top by 4 touchdowns. 65-34 is your score. Portland trying to get back into it if they can. On 1st and 10, Shane Austin looks for Gilliam, and that one is incomplete, in and out of the hands of Gilliam again. Portland down to its 5th option at receiver. Starter Jabin Zambrano went down in the second quarter. Christian Wise himself went down later in the second quarter. He's already a defensive back playing offense. And Sergio Gilliam, a fellow DB, Jack linebacker, in there going both ways. Doing the best he can, but can't haul that one in. And it's 2nd and 10. The mantra for the Sharks defense, don't give up a big play. Austin, back to pass, looks left, has an open Gilson across midfield, and Gilson gets contacted into the wall. He kept running, but it is, in fact, a tackle by Greg Reed as he forced Gilson into the wall. As I say, don't give a big play. Gilson gets behind the defense. It does pick up about 20 yards on the play. So, Portland across midfield, 1st and 10 at the Jacksonville 23. Under 5 minutes to play in the ballgame. The Sharks again up by 4 touchdowns. Austin back to pass, looks deep for Gord. That one incomplete. There is a flag down, however. I think they're going to get Greg Reed for a little early contact on that one. He was hand fighting with Gord, and sometimes that's what it takes to stop a guy that is 7 inches taller than you. You always say a flag is better than a touchdown, and Reed does take the penalty there. So Portland will get 10 free yards and an automatic first down. 65 points for Jacksonville, the second time they have crossed the 60-point threshold this season. They scored 68 in that thrilling overtime loss against Arizona back in Week 4. Gilliam to the left. Wide side of the field has got Gilson stationary and Gord in motion. Quick pass out to Gilson. And nice job by Reed to come up, close down, and force the Portland receiver out of bounds only after a gain of about a yard. That's the type of play you will take all day in this game situation because Portland isn't particularly hurrying up, so that is a 1-yard gain that's going to cost the Steel about 35 seconds. On 2nd down and 9, Shane Austin looking left for Gilson, and that one is intercepted. Jacksonville with another pick. Greg Reed picks it up, hands the ball to David Highland, and there goes Highland down the sideline. David Highland was in running room, gets a block from Larashi Jackson, cuts it back, and David Highland takes it all the way into the end zone for a Jacksonville touchdown. However, There is a flag down back at the 12-yard line. There's also a man down for Portland. I think that's the center, John Collins. A lot to unpack there. As it looked like Reed picked it off and then gave the ball to Highland, or Highland picked it off himself. It's hard to see based on where my position is, that angle. I don't have a full view of the wall, so it was hard to see exactly who pulled the ball in. Either way, David Highland emerged with the football and took it the length of the field. A phenomenal run after the catch. A great downfield block by Larachi Jackson. However, there's a flag down, and of greatest concern with this game situation is the health of the Portland player down on the field. Again, that was behind the play. Couldn't really see what happened on first blush. Going to keep an eye on the video board in front of me to see if we get a replay of the situation. As right now the Portland player, which I believe is John Collins, is down on his back. Collins, a former all-arena offensive lineman, and good to see him being helped up. Sharks Director of Sports Medicine Chris Menney and the rest of the Sharks training staff out there helping the Portland trainer attend to the player. He's now sitting up. So there's a lot to unpack. There's 2 fouls on the play against Jacksonville. So there's going to be an infraction on the return, which is going to wipe away the touchdown by Highland and bring Jacksonville back inside its own 10-yard line. Then there's an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty after the play called against Greg Reed for removing his helmet. And because one was a live ball foul, one was a dead ball foul, they are both enforced. So Jacksonville will take over. So right now it's got David Highland with the interception. Again, I couldn't see if it was Greg Reed or David Highland that initially got his hands on the football. And I think it was Highland who came away with it. And so he gets the pick, and his touchdown return is wiped away. Either way, it's the 4th interception of the game for Jacksonville. And one by each of the 3 starting DBs. Larachi Jackson has 2. 2:58 to play. Crawford in motion. Grady, quick pass. That one incomplete, intended for Tiger Jones. Again, the clock keeps rolling even on the incompletion. We're still outside of 1 minute, so Jacksonville will take that. Andrew Robustelli is checked into the game, and actually it's Sean Brackett now in there at quarterback. So I said Grady, it's Brackett. The day is done for Tommy Grady, and what a day it was. 22 of 27, 288, 8 touchdowns, no picks. Hard to get better than that. I mean, technically it's not perfect, but it's just about perfect as Tommy Grady with a phenomenal performance that surely should earn him consideration for the AFL's Under Armour Offensive Player of the Week. Brackett back to pass, that one over everything, intended for Crawford. It'll be 3rd down and 10. Looks like Tommy Grady and Joe Hills can enjoy their 4 touchdown connections on the bench. Again, Robustelli, the rookie out of Jacksonville University, a native of the state of Florida as well, has seen a little bit of action over the last couple of weeks, mostly on special teams. But gets some reps here at receiver, replacing Hills. Tiger Jones and London Crawford still in the game as well. Also, Ryan Cave is checked into the game at center, replacing Ray McNeil. 3rd down and 10. Brackett back to pass, fires, hits Jones, and that should be a 1st down for Jacksonville, and it is. Nice connection there from Sean Brackett to Tiger Jones. Brackett gets his first connection of the game, and this should take us all the way down to the 1-minute timeout. So we are entering the final stages of this one. So now, I think it's safe to say the Sharks are on their way to improve to 3-4 this season, getting a big win where they built the lead, maintained the lead, maintained a high level of play throughout the game. That's what they've been searching for, and they got it right here. So yeah, this will go to the 1-minute timeout. So we'll get ready to take our final media timeout of the game. As we'll step aside, 60 ticks left. The Sharks up 65-34. We'll be back to close it out right here on ESPN3. Burn off the remainder of the clock. Still clearing the end zone here, so we have a stoppage in play. Sean Brackett in the game at quarterback. Andrew Robustelli in the game at wide receiver. And, well, that's it. And Ryan Cave actually in at center. You can't really bring in the second unit in arena football because with the roster size, there really isn't one. Robustelli, the high motion man. Brackett takes the snap. He'll be back to pass. Steps up, fires over the middle. That one incomplete. And there's a flag. Mike McMillan with some early contact there on Robustelli, and he'll get called for DPI. So the Sharks trying to get Brackett at least a few more reps in terms of throwing the football before running down the clock. Again, 56 seconds. Portland does have all 3 timeouts. You would think that Ron James would just let this one play out if Jacksonville runs it forward, but you never know. Certainly his prerogative to call timeout if he so chooses. Pass interference called on McMillan. That moves the ball up to the 23-yard line. 1st and 10 for Jacksonville. Offensive coordinator Raymond Filiaw gives Sean Brackett the play call. Jacksonville breaks the huddle on the left college hatch. Crawford in motion. Jones stationary left. Robustelli stationary right. Brackett back to pass on 1st down. Steps up in the pocket. Steps up and fires. That one is incomplete. Almost intercepted by McMillan off the ground. Brackett was under pressure. It looked like Brandon Cisse hit the quarterback's arm, affecting the throw. And that one really not in the direction of a Jacksonville receiver. It'll be 2nd and 10. Next week, the Sharks on the road against the Orlando Predators. That one Friday, May 27th. And that's a 7:30 kickoff down there at Amway Center. There's a fan bus available. Head to jacksharks.com and click on news for all the info. They'll hand it to Derek Ross here on 2nd down. He goes forward for about 6 yards, extending his all-time AFL leading rushing total. That's over 3,000 yards now. The first time in AFL history a player has done that. And now the clock continues to run. As I suspected, Ron James will not call timeout here. And so Jacksonville needs one more forward rush to end this game. And no, they won't, because they just reset the play clock, and that's going to wind it down. The Jacksonville Sharks have come off the bye week and had their most efficient game of the season. The offense scored 10 touchdowns on their first 10 drives. The defense got 4 picks and a couple of turnovers on downs, and the end result is a 65-34 victory over the Portland Steel. Jacksonville improves to 3-4. Portland falls to 0-7, and the Sharks get a little something going before heading down to take on the Orlando Predators next Friday night. It's going to be a while before we're back with you here on ESPN3. There's actually 3 nationally televised home games in a row in the month of June, and so we will not provide a home broadcast for those contests. We'll be back with you on the air all the way on July 23rd against the LA Kiss. So I'll see you then, but certainly tune in because there's some great football to be played. Come down to the Shark Tank or watch on national TV the next 3 home games and follow this team as they try and come out of an early hole and get back in contention in the conference race. So again, Jacksonville 65, Portland 34. I am Xander Keene. Thank you for being patient as I was flying solo on the broadcast tonight. Great being with you all as always. And we will see you on July 23rd. The Sharks will see you in 2 weeks' time on June 4th against the Philadelphia Soul. So until then, enjoy the rest of your Saturday night. Thanks for tuning in as Jacksonville wins 65-34 here on ESPN3.